Mesdames et messieurs, bon après-midi.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. You are listening to the weekly bilingual magazine Honneur et Fidélité. In today's edition, Commander Serge Cyril Atonfak-Gemo, the head of the Communication Division, focus on the involvement of the Ministry of Defense as a fundamental actor in the development of Cameroon, that is the education of the youthful fringe of our population. Commander Serge Cyril Atonfak-Gemo, good afternoon.
Capitaine de frégate Serge Cyril Atonfak-Gemo, bon après-midi.
Commander Serge Cyril Atonfak-Gemo, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Senior Warrant Officer. It is with a lot of pleasure assisting in this weekly bilingual magazine of the Defense Forces in the construction of the nation.
Why does the Ministry of Defense take to heart the education of the Cameroon youth to the point of engaging with a remarkable spirit in the campaign Back to School?
Thank you. The answer to this question, let us make a brief return to the past in order to better understand the historicity and relevance of the commitment of the Cameroon Army in favor of school, commitment that continues and moreover consolidates with time. Thus, we realize that the creation of the Cameroon Army in November 1959, the school map, the road map, the telecommunication facilities of Cameroon were still largely absent, not to say embryonic, as compared to today. Now, it happens that with the outbreak of armed rebellion in the aftermath of our country's accession to international sovereignty, the soldiers tasked with fighting the opposition forces were leaving for long-term missions, all the while almost without news from their families, who themselves were not always safe. As a result of this state of affairs, family ties sometimes stretched to the point of breakup, parental monitoring, and the schooling of military children were hypothetical. And in the end, it was the soldiers' morale that was permanently sealed. As a solution, it was therefore decided that at the same time as the lines of communications were open, barracks should be built, and in these barracks, schools were implanted. In doing so, not only was the movement between the theaters of operations and the rear easier, but also the journeys were reduced, the families of the soldiers were safe in barracks, and the children school hitch-free.
So we were in a zone of insecurity, especially in the Sanaga Maritime, Nkam, Mungo, Menua, Bambutos, and the list is inexhaustive. So someone had to bear the risk in constructing roads, build barracks and schools, as a premonition of what is happening today in certain parts of the national territory.
Certainly, Senior Warrant Officer, you see, history repeats itself. In fact, military engineers have taken the task in executing this mission. When it comes to construction, a glaring example against the Boko Haram sect in the far north region and armed separatist group in the northwest and southwest regions.
Barrack schools also host children from civilian families. How do you justify this blend?
This blend, as you call it, finds its justification on the ideological and practical levels, as the Cameroon Army is considered as a crucible of national unity because it involves persons from all parts of the country. So like the public school, schools and barracks had to reflect this diversity, in addition to being the place by excellence where discipline, civility, and patriotic spirit are inculcated. In practical terms now, let's not forget that at the very beginning, schools and barracks were sometimes the only one for many miles around to meet the needs of school-age youth. Responding to this need was then to train the vital forces that Cameroon will need, but also to maintain the anchoring of the army in its nation. The stronger and permanent the army-nation link, the greater chances of successes of the mission. It was the case yesterday. It is still the case today. And then, given the increasing complexity of its missions, given the technical nature of the equipment it uses, the army needs young people who are rather well educated.
Listening to you, Commander, it therefore implies that it's the field that imposes the maneuver. But since then, has this commitment, this involvement of the Army in education continued to be informal, or is there a normative framework for this?
The normative framework has existed since 1967 at least, with law number 67/LF/9 of 12 June 1967 on the general organization of the defense. This law provides for social actions such as education, health, sport activities. The list goes on and on. Nowadays, and through texts subsequent to the one mentioned here, social action is an integral part of the missions assigned to the Directorate of Administrative and Regulatory Affairs. You understand that a long time ago, the Army has made the quest for knowledge, a fight it carries out relentlessly and more intensively. The Ministry of Defense has so far in its credit not less than 82 nursery and primary schools, including a high school, all spread throughout the national territory. It should be noted that the teaching programs of all these institutions are in line with those adopted by education authorities in Cameroon, that is, the Ministry of Basic Education and the Ministry of Secondary Education.
Nous avons notamment nommé le ministère de l'Éducation de base et le ministère des Enseignements secondaires.
Last question, Commander. Apart from the opening of schools in barracks to children of all school age, what can the Army...
If you are referring to the areas in which some die-hard advocates prevent schooling, I will say that under the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, our soldiers we do what is necessary to ensure that school will live wherever it is threatened, even if it's necessary to hold the rifle on one hand and the chalk on the other. It is neither the qualified resources that are lacking, let alone the will. So from Monday, September 2, all for school, all at school.